This KMRS-KKOK American Farm Bureau Annual Convention interview is brought to you by Ag Country Farm Credit Services, Federated Telephone, Midwest Machinery, the Morris Co-op, Conagizer Truck Sales, Stevens Community Medical Center, and Prairie Trailer.
Hi, everyone, and welcome once again to another update on the American Farm Bureau National Convention, virtual convention this year. I'm your host, Jim Bartels from the Ingstead, Minnesota Radio Network, and our radio broadcast is going across 8 different markets in the state of Minnesota, but also our video of this is going to be posted on many of our Facebook sites and websites as well. Our guest on our broadcast today, as we'll talk about the convention that has the theme Stronger Together, our guest is no stranger to Minnesota farm listeners and Farm Bureau activists and so forth. Robin Kinney is with us. Robin, good to have you with us again.
Good morning. It's great to be with you, Jim. And we've got about 48 degrees here in Virginia, but I'm looking forward to someday being like with people in Minnesota again. It'll be great.
And we'll talk, you're relocating, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. You're about 20 degrees warmer than we are in Minnesota as we're doing our broadcast on this Tuesday morning recording. Robin, so we're going to talk about your role with the convention in a little bit, but I want to update our listeners too. You're actually part of the National Farm Bureau staff. What do you do there? And then you're transitioning to Minnesota's staff. Give us a little update on that.
Sure, Jim. So I've had the great fortune and honor to be working with the American Farm Bureau Federation for over 7.5 years now. I came here in August of 2013 from Denver, where I had worked with the National Cattlemen's Association. My role at the American Farm Bureau is that of a senior director with membership engagement. And my responsibilities have included being the liaison to states with less than 10,000 members, helping to coordinate our national awards program, helping to staff the Promotion and Education Committee, one of 3 national advisory committees that provide advice and recommendations to our national president and to the board. And then also lately, I've been working on a couple of initiatives, including rural mental health and awareness, our Patriot Project, which is a mentorship program, and finally, urban county farm bureaus. There's about 70 cities in the United States that, as you can imagine, Jim, the transitioning of urban sprawl and whatnot, a lot more of their members now are urban consumers rather than active farmers. And so these we call it the Urban County Coalition, is working on programs that help engage those members and spread information about agriculture.
What will you be doing with Minnesota as you transition to the Minnesota Farm Bureau staff?
Yeah, what a great opportunity to come back to the state I love and where I actually got my start with Farm Bureau. I'll be returning to the Minnesota Farm Bureau as the Director of Membership and Marketing. I'll be working with the field staff team, if you will, the team that's out there supporting our county farm bureaus. And I would say, Jim, across the United States, we have 2,800 active county farm bureau units. Those are individual, nonprofit organizations, and it's the very foundation of Farm Bureau. The work that happens in the area that you cover, southern Minnesota, all throughout the United States, those county boards usually meet once a month. They take a look at local issues, state issues, national issues. They support their rural communities. And that's where all of our policy comes from. So the most important part of an annual convention really becomes that business session where we set our marching orders, we get them from the delegates on what our priority issues will be here in Washington, D.C. to implement.
And of course, Minnesota has a number of county organizations. I can't remember the number right now, but
78. 78.
Wow.
Out of 87 counties, I believe there's 78 active county organizations. Yeah.
Very, very good. And of course, for those folks that have come to the State Farm Bureau Convention, if I'm right, you're always up there at the main table, helping run traffic and doing some PA work and so forth, right?
Yeah, my thanks to President Papp and to the organization for inviting me back each year to kind of help be the voice of the Minnesota Convention. It's been quite an honor. I cover each fall in the last 7, 8 years. I've probably traveled to almost 10 annual meetings, and it's always worked out that I could still scoot back to Minnesota. So
Great, great. We're going to take a break in just a little bit. When we come back, I want to talk to Robin about, she's been instrumental in putting together this virtual national convention. I think that's kind of interesting. And also, we're going to talk a little bit about the convention as it's going on right now. I know there's workshops every day, some on-demand sessions, and people can see it. And Robin, if I got it right, if they just go to fb.org, then they can click on
events. Yep.
Okay.
Click right on. You do need to be registered, but it's free to register. It's open to everybody. And once you're registered, you can view either live or anything that has aired already and on-demand sessions.
Yeah, excellent. It's good. And again, you don't have to be a member of Farm Bureau. Go and sample it, test it out, take advantage of what's there. That is great. And with that, we are back once again talking with Robin Kinney, who is going to be moving back to Minnesota shortly. A lot of people remember her, worked on Linder Farm Network for a few years, a great voice, been involved in Farm Bureau a long time, and other organizations. Robin, you are helping out putting the details. This would be the back end of a computer, so to speak. Things that people don't see. What are you doing with the convention? I know you're very active in making sure things are running.
Well, Jim, it's really exciting, and I've been able to serve on the annual convention planning team 3 or 4 years out of my tenure out here in DC. And this year, like everything else, we start our planning right after convention was done in Austin last year. So we knew that we were going to San Diego in 2021. We had our regroup sessions in February. We're looking at evaluations, and along came a global pandemic. So we kind of waited as long as we could. We started making 3 sets of plans, actually, Jim. One to have both in-person and virtual, one to have just in-person, and one to go virtual. Around about October, we received information from the city of San Diego, where we should have been, that they were going to be using the convention center through January to help house the homeless, which means there was no way that we could bring 6,000 to 7,000 people into San Diego. And the health of our members is the most important thing. So we pulled out that virtual plan. We had a great lineup already. Really, the theme Stronger Together is what our team in the DC office has done. I am not an expert on technology, but I know how to identify great speakers and get them involved. And then we've used our national committees and some of our leaders to introduce or host the sessions. So that means prepping them so that they're at their best, that we have the right questions, and giving all of our viewers a great experience. And so far, I have to tell you, Jim, I'm watching on my big screen. I've got 2 laptops sitting here, and I am just busting with pride. Together, we've really pulled off a major event, and hopefully we'll see everybody in 2022, January, in Atlanta, and rather than virtually. But virtually works. It allows us to pull more people in. This week, one of our second general sessions featured a great conversation with Beth Ford, the CEO and president of Land O'Lakes, and President Duvall talking about the issues. And when you look at Land O'Lakes getting ready to celebrate their 100th year, the issues are the same, but here they are a cooperative of producers and yet have that huge consumer awareness. And Beth Ford's comments were spot on, and they talked about a lot of issues. So I'm very, very proud.
And that session, again, would be available. Folks could go on to the site and click on, and that would be archived and ready for folks as well.
Yes, it is, correct.
And I'm guessing too, I talked to Karen Schaefer about this. I'm guessing down the road, even let's say next year in Atlanta, there will be a lot of virtual opportunities, because what's being learned this year, implemented this year, will continue on in the playbook to some degree down the road, right?
I certainly think you're correct on that, Jim. It's just like broadcasting. What you're doing today is so different than what I did when I was at the Linder Farm Network. This is a face for radio, not for television at all. Plus, there was too much equipment for television. But the interesting thing, one of my groups, the Promotion Education Committee, this year I plan to go to Fair Oaks Farms in northern Indiana. We had 150 people that were registered to come. They were going to invest several days of their time, fly into Chicago, rent a car, come over. We were able to provide them with a virtual session free of charge, and our registration soared to over 400 people. So when you take a look at Farm Bureau, which is nearly 6 million members nationwide, a lot of people don't realize they belong at the county level, the state level, and they have that voice nationally. And so this is a great way to expose, or as you said, look under the hood, kick the tires, and see what your Farm Bureau is all about. We're so active in our rural communities. We are out there to make a difference, to provide a strong rural economy, and to help our farmers have a level playing field.
We've got to get running here. Robin Kinney, our guest. Real quick, do you have a couple of numbers? How many people registered? How many have been clicking on and viewing? Something like that?
The number that I had last night was we were approaching 7,000 in registrations. I was watching the Beth Ford session, and I believe there were over 1,300 that were viewing it live. And then certainly as you watch the replays, the numbers will keep popping up.
The convention is through the 13th. Our broadcast will continue on through the week because there's some follow-up meetings that are coming up. But all this material will be available on that website, fb.org/events, correct?
Yeah, if they get to fb.org, that's our landing page. Under events, you can see the virtual convention, but all of our issue briefers are there, everything on our committees, farm state of mind, mental health, all the resources can be found right on that website.
Might want to check out Mike Rose, a guest speaker on Wednesday, 12:30, general session. That's Eastern time. So be a 1 hour day, 11:30 in our central time. Of course, he had the dirty jobs. A lot of people enjoy watching what he was doing. He did a lot of jobs on the farm too, which I got a kick out of that. And check out the workshops and so on too. You mentioned Land O'Lakes, their 100th year Farm Bureau, just a little bit ahead of that. I think about 102, something like that now.
Well, we actually loaned them the first $1,000 to get their membership campaign kicked off. Yeah, it's very exciting. So I'm really excited to come back to Minnesota. It's my home state. Farm Bureau has made such a huge difference in my life. So happy to hopefully end my career in Minnesota. So.
Super, Robin. Our paths have crossed many times over the years, both kind of veterans in what we do. And great to talk to you again today. Thanks for sharing the information. Robin Kinney, who is working with the National Farm Bureau, soon to be transitioning to the Minnesota Farm Bureau and be Director of Membership and Marketing, as I saw that in the Voice tabloid. Robin, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, everybody.
All right, very good. Jim Bartels reporting. That's our update on the National Farm Bureau Convention.